What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Competitive Edge Podcast. So today's guest, not only does he serve in the military, he's also a TEDx speaker. He's written several books, actually working on his next book we'll talk about in a little bit. We got one of them right here, Be Tenacious. But what I love about Mike Little is his ability to take his own journey, his struggles, the things that he's been through in his life, and come out the other side stronger. And for you, you've been through a storm, or I can promise you this, you're headed into a storm. And I believe the people that come out the other side and are stronger have actual intentionality of how they got through it, and they learn the lessons so they can be stronger to go forward. And we often learn from other people's stories. Today, we're going to unpack that. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about being an entrepreneur, a speaker, all of these things. So that's going to be of interest to you if you want to get on more stages, connect with more people. And I'll leave you with this. Mike and I are meeting for the first time. However, we've been connected on social, and we were laughing about this before. Think about your brand and the connections you have today. And how can you get relationships to go deeper? You get in person. So Mike was in town, Coach Burt's event with Rory Vaden last night, the Greatness Factory, and they had their own event yesterday. So we're going to talk about that and several things. So buckle up. It's going to be a great show. Mike,
awesome.
Welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man. Glad I could make it by.
We finally made it happen.
Yeah.
Because I know you've been in town a lot and you've worked with Coach, and we were talking about all the people that we knew, which was really cool. And so I kind of want to start there because I can tell you're intentional about your development.
Very, yeah.
You're learning who you're surrounding yourself with. And I always love to know why. Why choose that path, and why are you doing that?
So we're kind of asking the shift to speaking and writing.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? Okay. So I told some friends years ago, I served in the Navy for 14 years. But my childhood and upbringing is pretty rough. You know, it's one of those stories that make people intrigued. Like, wow, that's a lot. It's heavy, right? So when I left the Navy, I knew that I was going to do real estate. But the whole time, I told people back then, like, I really just want to tell my story. Yeah. Like, I always just felt that people could, get value from it, or at least learn how to endure the storm that you were just talking about. You know, if you look at my book cover, what is that? It's a storm. It's my eyes through the storm, right? And you got to be tenacious to make it through. And so it all kind of goes together, but I just always felt what I had made it through to get where I got, even back then, like just to make it to the Navy was an incredible win, and I felt like people could get something out of that. And I spent my early years in the military and as a father and a husband early on, because I got married early, I had kids early, I joined the military early, right? But I didn't really have a father figure around. So I was always in pursuit of, I watched and idolized people like Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, anybody that was doing something big in the world. Our day was probably like a Hulk Hogan situation. Like all these superheroes that emerged, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, like these were the guys, because when you don't have a father figure, you're like, I'm trying to achieve something different. That's right. And where I was, how I came up, something told me internally, there's got to be better. Like, you see these people on TV, you hear the people on the radio, you watch these people play sports. People are living good lives. Yeah. How do we get there? So I just felt that telling my story one day would be a thing. Mm-hmm. So when I got out of the Navy and made it through some more storms and built several businesses through some crazy storms like COVID, things like that, I got to a point where I was like, how can I package all this? How can I tell the story? And I've always went and found a mentor, because I always wanted that male figure, right? I always wanted somebody that was going to show me how to be a man. Kind of the same thing in life. If I wanted to be a good sailor, I went and found good sailors, and I learned. If I wanted to be good at real estate, I went and found great people in real estate, and I learned. Same thing happened with speaking and writing. I got to a point where I was like, I can tell this story, but where am I going to go? Like, I don't know what to do. I know what I want to do, but I don't know what to do. So a friend of mine kept sending me reels of Coach Burt. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I had some friends in Tennessee that I served in the Navy with, and they're like, oh, he's the guy, man. I said, what do you mean? He's a championship basketball coach. He's very well known in Nashville, and I've read a couple of his books. I said, okay, and I was loving the reels. So I said, I just went down the rabbit hole like we were just talking about before the show, and I met Coach Burt. He was in Virginia Beach. He made a post on Facebook, and I am just one of those guys that we're all human, man.
That's right.
I'm going to reach out, So I just commented on the post, and I didn't expect to get a response, but I did. And that's when I realized Burt's different. Mm-hmm. He said, come meet me. I'm here till 11 o'clock or whatever. I said, well, I live 10 minutes away. And I'm a get up and come meet you kind of guy. So I went there. We spoke for a couple hours. Immediately, I signed on for a year, 20,000, no problem. In the next 6 months, I had my first book, #1 bestseller, and then somehow got Eric Thomas to do a live webinar for my first book launch.
Awesome.
My friend Tim, who's the one that brought me here this morning, he's from Detroit, and he had went to school with somebody that knew ET, and I was at the lodge here in Tennessee doing Package Your Purpose, and it just turned into, he was like, I think we can get ET, man. I said, what? Like, this is insane, but okay, I'm all in, you know, and I stood up the speaking, coaching, and writing business right there at the lodge here, doing Package Your Purpose with Coach, and launched my first book, and it's all kind of been a blur since. But what do you do after you have done everything you kind of have set out to do? You help other people do the same thing. So that's all I really want to do at this point. You know, I built these companies, and I'm surrounded by all these great people, and we're all living better lives than we once were. So it's like, well, the more people I can help do that, the more fulfilled I would be. That's right. So that's why I'm speaking right.
Hey guys, it's Brian here. I hope you are enjoying the show. By the way, if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur looking to grow your personal brand, make a bigger impact, maybe increase your leads and grow your revenue, let's help you get started today by connecting up with my friends over at the Brand Builders Group. You've heard me talk about them, but if you're new here, this is definitely the first step to get you started in turning your reputation into revenue. Head over to freebrandcall.com/Brian Covey. Again, to set up your free brand call, go to freebrandcall.com/Brian Covey to set up a free strategy call with one of the team at Brand Builders, and they will dive into your specific goals for how you want to grow your personal brand. I can't wait to hear how it goes.
I want people to understand this personal development journey you've been on was not overnight. It wasn't one decision. It wasn't any of that. But I'd love to know if somebody's going through that storm right now, and you think back to the ones that you've made it through. Yeah. And you're thinking, okay, Mike, that's awesome. You got on the other side of this, but I'm in it right now. Yep. What did you learn, and what advice would you give back to yourself or somebody else in that storm right now?
So, and I did a TED Talk recently. I've been blessed to do a lot of cool things the last couple of years. And when I gave the TED Talk, I've worked a lot with Rene Rodriguez, who I know you know. I've been through Amplify, and he's been on my stage at Determine Your Destiny, and we've done some things, a lot of things. He helped me with a lot of things. And when I was crafting my TED Talk, it was one of the things he helped me with. And as I was crafting it, I realized I came to, I guess, an epiphany. So I don't know if you know how TED works. I'm sure you're versed. You know, it's like 180 something applications, right? Before I got selected. And then once you get selected, you had to do a dry run, and then they pick from that group. And, you know, so it's very strict and stringent, and you can't sell, you can't offer, you can't market, you can't no, you have to give people an idea worth spreading, right? So I said, well, tenacity, that's my brand. That's what I built it on. How do I turn that in to an idea worth spreading? So the TED Talk became, you're not too intense. It's unguided tenacity. And what I learned on my journey was, I got to throw a couple details out, you know, just kind of how I grew up, being born into addiction, neglect, abandonment, foster care, all of these things. You had to build a certain resilience in real time, right? And it can harden you, and you can be very intense. Too intense. You can be labeled, oh, you're too intense, you're obsessed, you're too serious. When's it ever enough, right? I'm sure you've heard all these things. And what I realized was it wasn't my intensity or my sense of urgency, because I knew where it came from. Other people just didn't understand it. And what I began to realize was that it wasn't my intensity or my sense of urgency or how serious I was. It was that all of that energy was misguided. It wasn't tactical yet. It hadn't been curated. So when I come alongside people like Burt and Renee, and get in rooms with Rory and ET, and you know, I've seen Ed speak several times and met him once or twice, and I just, man, I know I can do this, right? Like you hear these stories and how they're putting them together, and you're like, dude, I like with some training, with just a little bit of articulation and to get some of those rough edges off, right? So, but that's what I would tell anybody is you need to learn where to direct and aim your energy. You need to understand why you have it and where you're trying to put it.
Yeah.
So like when I say be tenacious, I don't mean just like go hard all day, every day. I mean, be tenacious in whatever you do. Like live within that law of tenacity, which I define as the power of sustained superior resilience. Your marriage is going to require it. Raising your children is going to require it. Running your business is going to require it. So I'm not talking about like, oh, just be, I'm talking about tactically and committed to understanding where and when that energy is being used and where it's going. You should love your family tenaciously. Absolutely. You should have fun tenaciously. But when you work, yes, you should work tenaciously. So that doesn't mean you're too serious. It means you're focused.
Yeah.
And that's what I found was my energy that a lot of people would take as anger or hate or discontent or spite. No, I just happen to know how bad it really can be. And I'm never going there. My family will never experience that. My children will never see that. And even that, I can't be the same intense individual with my child all the time. I can't help them with their problems if I'm a certain level of like amped up, right? So,
that's right.
But you can also connect tenaciously, right? It just means doing it no matter the resistance level. That's all, really. I think people will take it and they mislabel it, right? So you're going through a storm and people are telling you you're crazy. I'm going to tell you you're not crazy. Every time people told me I was crazy, I was right. When I left the Navy, they told me I was crazy. Best decision I ever made. When I opened my businesses during COVID, you're crazy. One of the best decisions I've ever made. When I went through my divorce and my first marriage, that was rough. One of the hardest things in my life. One of the best things that ever happened to me. But I didn't realize it until I started seeing, wait a minute, take ownership, take accountability, don't blame everyone else. You made some mistakes here too. That's when the epiphany happens. That's when you start figuring out where your energy goes. When you take ownership, accountability to yourself, stop expecting other people to hold you accountable. If you can look in the mirror and say, wait a minute, I played a part in that. I probably made some bad decisions. I could have done better. Why was my energy going where it was going? How can I shift it? And that's why I wrote the Tenacity Blueprint in my book. I broke it down with a professional assessment creator, psychologist, went through my nearly 40 years of life and everything that those points that we're talking about and what it took to make it through. And I break it down. It's all in there. So but that's the answer, man. Take some accountability and deconstruct it.
That's right.
Look at it. Run it back. What happened? What'd you do wrong? What'd you do right? And like, don't beat yourself up over what you did wrong. There's no losses, just lessons.
That's right.
As long as you learned from it, So those would be my recommendations. I made a lot of mistakes getting where I got, but people meet me or see me and they're like, oh, you're young. Well, I'm 38. I don't necessarily think that's young, but I started early because of the circumstances, right? I joined the military when I was 17 years old. So everything most people are doing in their 30s, I was doing as a teenager or in my very early 20s. So it's never the amount of life. It's the amount of experience within the life or the years, right? So maybe, 50 years, you're wiser. Not necessarily. What's the level of experiences within that 50 years, right? Like if I tell you in 38 years that I've been homeless, that I've been abandoned, that I've been a foster child, that I've been a sailor, that I've been deployed, that I've traveled the world multiple times, that I built businesses, that I've spoke all over the country, that's not because I'm like special. It's just because I took more pain earlier. Does that make sense? Because our specialties, I believe, come about from that pain.
That's right. Right?
From the suffering. The only way you get to your gift is through a little bit of the hurt locker, Like you have to endure some stuff, man. So, but I think those are the key components to getting through it.
Love it. If you don't have the book, guys, grab the book. We'll make sure to link it in there and all that because that'll be cool. It, man. But I love a few things you said because one thing we share with our youngest, just turned 11, is about no losses. There's lessons.
Yeah,
and he'll repeat that to me. And so
love it.
I listen just to your language and things that you're sharing, and you can tell you've, in a way, reprogrammed some of your language too. Because I think there's this victim mentality of people like, all these things happen to me,
but it's for you.
Yep. I knew you would know. Like, and so I hear that. Where did you start to really develop that? Because I'm listening, and your language is such that somebody that's been through the storm and on the other side of it, that if you face another storm, you're more prepared now.
Yeah, no problem.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's because I always say, you're going to face storms. And actually, the more successful you become, the higher you go. Sometimes the bigger the storm.
For sure. Absolutely.
So how would someone reprogram their language? Because I'm listening to all those people you're surrounding yourself with. Are you reading? Are you listening to podcasts? Like, how does Mike develop himself that people may not see, or they're like, okay, this is cool. This is the product now, but what has Mike been doing behind the scenes?
So, I think a lot of people see just the last few years, which is when I started working with Coach, when I started writing the books, when I got the TED Talk, when I started getting booked to do decent sized venues, you know, when people started buying 700 books or 1,000 books to hand out for me to talk to people, I was like,
that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. But when I look back, when you peel the onion back, man, it started so long ago. Yeah. One of the two actually people that I looked up to in my youth, that I read about, that I wrote book reports on, that I watched all the time, Muhammad Ali and Colin Powell.
Oh, yeah.
So these were two very articulate men, but they also weren't from the typical place that you would expect me to be from, right? Yeah. They represented the communities in which I lived in and grew up in, right? Yeah. So to me, I was probably tracking different things than your average young white male in America. Yeah. So when I was looking to those people, I just loved how Ali would speak and how he would talk and how he would educate you while he would make you laugh. And, Les Brown's one of my favorite speakers of all time, right? Yeah. And I've been watching and learning and self-educating and a student of the game, I mean, probably since 14 or 15 years old, man. And then in the Navy, you go through a lot of things. Some of them leadership training, some of them presentation training. Yeah. And when you're training people all the time and presenting all the time, so in reality, I've been presenting and training and speaking and talking for 20 plus years. I just didn't realize it until I went and dove into the demonstrated capacity, which Coach Burt will take you down, right? So just leading and talking to people in the military and being in a leadership position, I began to seek leadership skills, right? So very early in my Navy career, I've read every single John Maxwell book that exists. I've listened to every single one of them more than once. I've been following and watching and listening to Ed Mylett and Eric Thomas and, all these people. Man, I don't even know. It's 2026. Probably since about 2011 timeframe was like when I really was diving into self-development, and it started with Jim Rohn.
Oh, yeah.
He's my favorite of all time. I think it's like Jim, Les, E.T. Ed, somewhere in there. Yeah. But when I listen to Jim speak, it's always philosophical. And it always delivers. Every line, the way that he gives it to you, how he does it, just phenomenal. Yeah. And I was working a pretty tough job, active duty military, right? Yeah. But I also was selling real estate on the side. And I also had a family, right? So a lot of times the only way I could keep going is just by putting something on, right? And one from Jim always stuck out to me and said, don't wish you were easier, wish you were better.
That's right. Love that one. And
from that day forward, kind of. And then E.T., I've been following him since probably the second day the YouTube page was up, like well before When You Want to Breathe As Bad As You Want to Succeed kind of took him to the next place, right? Yeah. I was already watching his stuff because I'm from places like that. Like it resonates for me. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from where people, the trap houses. And so for me, that grittier, it fits more. Yeah. But what I noticed was for me is that a lot of people would be taken back by someone who looks like me carrying himself like someone who looks like potentially, say, an E.T. or an Inky Johnson, right? People don't expect that from me. That would be the stereotype. Yeah. And that was another big reason I wanted to get into the speaking as well, was just I don't believe that struggle is synonymous with any race, color, creed, religion. I believe that anybody could have struggles that you don't even know about, right? And just because I built these successful companies and you see the gram, you don't see what goes into it. You don't see what people come from. You're just seeing 15-second clips, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you really think about it, probably 50, anywhere from 15 to 20 years, I've probably been on the road of self-development because I didn't really have a guide. I kind of had to figure a lot of it out. But luckily, nothing's luck, man. I made the choice to join the Navy, right? So through the Navy, I met a lot of phenomenal leaders. I had a lot of great mentorship, a lot of men and women that kept a young, hurt boy alive, and around. And it's because of them, really, truly, that the books exist and my businesses are successful, and I can go back and kind of tell all these stories and recant all the happenings. There were a lot of people that I would consider blessings along the way.
That's right.
And in my third book, Trench Work Leadership, which Coach Burt wrote the foreword on, I write about a lot of those relationships in there. And thankfully, a lot of them gave me some endorsements to put in that book. So all of that, from my early teen years to probably mid-20s, I was just always, I had to feed myself something positive, man. I mean, even while I was serving, and then you go through a divorce, and then the Navy tried to send me packing, actually, and I had to fight them and win to keep my honorable discharge and go home with my dignity. And then you build these companies, and COVID hits. And then during that, since then to now, my mother, my father, my sister, all deceased.
Wow. And
my grandfather, who I never met till I was 36 years old, and he was 85, wrote the foreword to this book from his deathbed. Wow. So when you have that much turbulence and struggle, and I just don't see a lot of problems other people see. I have blinders on. I don't really consider a lot of things struggle. My biggest pet peeve is like small issues that people turn mountains and anthills into mountains or molehills. But for me, the huge problem, I'm always the most calm. It's always the easiest. I have all the answers, and it's like, well, that's forged in the fire, man.
That's right.
And I don't think anybody chooses their circumstance that they're born into. But I can be thankful for it now. I just told you some pretty heavy stuff, and to sit here and remain positive and write about it and share it with people. Well, why would you do that? I'm like, dude, I have a son. I have 2 sons. I have a daughter. I have sisters. I have, there's people looking up to me, and I would consider myself at this point the patriarch of the family. The one, as Ed would say. And blame Ed, man. Actually, you know what? So I was at a conference, and I watched Ed speak. It was absolutely incredible. And it touched me in ways that it can't possibly touch other people because of my circumstance. When he starts going into the alcohol and the drugs and the abuse and his father, that's so on point, but such a small piece of what I experienced in life. And the incredible part for Ed is that his dad got sober, man. He got to have his best friend for however many years. And when he gives that I'm the one speech, I'm sitting in a crowd, man, a grown man crying. And my soon-to-be coach that I didn't know yet would be sitting next to me. Her name's Kathy Schweitzer. She works with Jeff Glover U in Michigan. I've been coaching with her on the business side for several years, and she's the one that embraced me that day, who I ultimately would turn around and hire. And so it's just all kind of connected, man. And then I made it a point to ensure that my wife and I got to meet Ed when he came to Virginia, and I've seen him speak several times since. But it was that day when I heard his story, and I said, man, I should be telling mine. And I know I can. I know I can.
Why not?
So thank you, Ed, for being an inspiration. But it was everything that we talked about previous leading up to that point. And then it sparked 7 days after that. 7 days after I saw Ed, after I'm crying in a conference, I know I don't look like the guy that's sitting around crying, but sometimes
it happens when he speaks.
Every time. And 7 days after that conference, I decided I was going to hire a coach because I wanted to level up. And if I wanted to go to what I had just seen.
Yeah.
I need to tighten a few screws, you know, I need to get some training. I need to figure some stuff out that I don't know.
Yeah.
So I hired her as a coach first to service my companies that needed me still, right? Yeah. But 7 days later, my father died. And we briefly mentioned, you know, my dad didn't really raise me. We had like 1, maybe 2 summers together. So he passed like just a week after me sitting in that room receiving this talk, right? And I just was like, this stops now. And I made a decision right then, like, no, I'm going to get these companies where they need to be. I'm going to help get my partners and the leadership team where they need to be so that I can go pursue my dreams. And I'm going to tell my story. Like, I made that decision that day. And then there was a conference in Arizona. My grandfather lived in Arizona. So I went to a conference and I got to meet my grandfather for the first time ever. My dad has already passed, his son. I had never met him. He's 85, I'm 36. I take my wife to his house. We sit around his kitchen table. He served in the Navy. I served in the Navy. Look, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I served in the Navy. He was a real estate educator and broker. What am I?
No way.
He was an author. What am I? He owned a title company. I own a title company. I mean, it got so creepy.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And so I was just so thankful that I was willing to explore and just not take everybody else's stories and answers. And and I got to hear from my father's father directly about my father. You know what I mean?
The other side.
And it was just eye-opening. Like what a moment to just realize that some stuff really is just in our DNA, man. Yeah, like you're not in control of anything. The only thing you're in control of is the actions that you take every day.
Yeah.
But your gifts, your scenario, your situation, what's laid out for you, like it's there, man. You know, you just have to believe and I would like follow your heart, your gut.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, Glover's doing a conference in Arizona. My grandfather lives in Arizona. Hey, babe, I think we should go a day early.
Yeah.
And my wife, of course, like, yes, absolutely. You need to meet your grandfather, of course.
That's right.
You know, and we go meet him and his wife and get a picture and I learn all those cool things. And the following summer, he's on his deathbed, right? So, and my father had already passed. My mother had already passed. So I reached out to him and his wife and like, you know, I know this is kind of a tall ask, but this might be the only chance we have.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of finishing this book. I've been trying to identify who I want to do the forward. And I just think that maybe this might be the best choice.
That's awesome.
And him and his wife replied, man, it had me the forward within 24 hours. And I'm not going to read it. Buy the book, read it. I read it and it was just like, did this even just happen? Like this is, it's crazy, but it's not. Yeah. It's like maybe it was meant to be, you know?
It was.
Yeah.
I
And
believe
then this year, right before I gave my TED Talk, man, creepy, Westminster, Maryland. I was speaking at a community college where the TEDx event was. 10 days before the TED Talk, my sister was found deceased. It gets way crazier. The death certificates that I ordered and the ashes come to my house. The location she was found, Westminster Avenue.
No way.
I can't make this up, Ryan. I'm telling you. And so when we talk about the storms and we talk about the adaptation and we talk about how do you keep going, for me, it was like, well, I've kind of come to this conclusion in life that if somebody passes, I am not going to mourn. I am going to try to celebrate your life in the best fashion possible, send you off with some dignity, you know, even my own father. So I made a mistake. When my mother passed, I was very cold. I was young. I was immature. I said, whatever, don't really matter. Of course it hurt me, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'm just numb, right? Fast forward a few years, my father passes and I'm a little more grown about it. So you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm going to do a service. I'll say a eulogy. I want to show my sisters what a real man looks like.
Yeah.
So that felt good to go back and do that. And I'm so happy I took the opportunity to go meet my grandfather before he passed. And just the fact that he was me before me, essentially. Wow. And now you're writing the forward to my book. And I never even got to like have a relationship. It's wild, you know? Just nuts.
People probably listening to that, they're going, wow.
Yeah, I wasn't sure you wanted to unpack all that, but you know, sometimes you have to go deep to really understand. Like, this is not a gimmick. This isn't some framework BS that I made up. Like, this is my life.
Yeah, you've lived it, and
it was curated through being coached by the best people in the world. Mm-hmm. Like, I had to work with Burt and Renee and be in rooms with Rory and Ed and ET to understand, how do you take this very, very hard, rough, cold, rugged story and turn it into something beautiful that you can help people with, which is all I wanted to do, you know? But yeah, that's where we're at, man.
What's the opportunity?
And here we are in Nashville.
Now we're sharing, which I love, because somebody's going to listen to this, I always say, and they're like, hold on, I'm going through that, or I've been through that as well.
For sure.
And it's almost for them an invitation or permission to go, hey, it's okay to mourn, like you said, but it's also, we got to move forward. We got to take care of those.
Yeah, live for them.
Yeah.
You know, right. Like I've endured so much. What do you even call it? Tragedy? Trauma? Like
life.
I mean, there you go, right?
Take the two together.
You know, some of us just experience more of it faster.
Yeah.
That's all. It doesn't make me any different than you.
Yeah.
But it does make me someone that can help you.
Yeah.
It does. Like it just does. If I know somebody struggling in the Navy, been there, man, I can help you.
Yeah.
Or her, or whatever. Oh, they're trying to do this to you, and you feel it's not right, it's unlawful, I can help you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're transitioning out, you want to run a business, I can help you.
Yeah.
Oh, you grew up as a foster child or as an at-risk youth or in addiction or abuse or neglect, like, I can help you. Mm-hmm. And because of people like Rory and Ed, you know, you're most powerfully positioned to help who you once were, serve who you once were. You're most qualified to help who you used to be. I mean, I can say it 10 different ways, and you hear it, and you're like, But then it's so true. What else would you be more qualified to do?
So I always say that,
right?
God has put you through those seasons to qualify you there.
Absolutely.
So that you are able to connect, and people will listen to that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up on the business side, because you've touched on it, and I know. So I got to understand, because you leave the Navy after 14 years.
Yep.
And you got real estate, title, other businesses I know you've gotten into. And I'm like, okay, how does someone leave and get into those?
Yeah.
Let's give them a little, kind of back into that story.
Sure.
Because it's some interesting things that I know. And
No, I got you, man. So what really happened was I started doing real estate on the side in the Navy very young, early. Because I was working 2 or 3 jobs. Because, I mean, I don't know if you know, but E3 and below in the military, you got a kid, you're not married, you're probably broke.
Yes.
And stacking credit card debt, right? Yeah. So I always had a second or third job because I had a family.
Yeah. So,
and I didn't want to live on the ship. I wanted my family to live in a house. And, you know, if dad was out to sea, my family had a home, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I took on those extra expenses, but I was willing to do the extra work so we could live that kind of life.
Yeah.
And I was doing the work one day, and I started in construction, working for contractors for cash under the table because, you know, growing up in Ohio, like, dude, we were roofing and framing and building cars from scratch. Like, you know, like it just, you can go out 10, 15 minutes outside of any city in Ohio and find the country, right? So you get the kind of both worlds.
Yeah.
So I was just always doing those things to earn money. And then I realized something, like, I don't want to be old and decrepit and broken and like I'm going to sit here and beat my body up for $8 an hour. And I see this guy pulling up in a Beamer in his workout clothes with 2 cell phones. What am I doing wrong? Yeah. So me and my buddy Andy just decided to approach one of the investors that we were working on the houses, and it happened to be the agent. And he told us where to go get our license. We went to get our license. So I was doing it for almost a decade before I left the military.
Wow.
Successfully, by the way. Like, I was top producer from the middle of the ocean kind of thing. I was doing $3 to $5 million a year, and I was still doing deployments and going in and out to sea.
Other requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I decided to leave, for many reasons, but once I got the favorable verdict from myself to move on honorably and put that whole situation behind me, I decided I wanted to go home. I said, no, man, I feel I felt violated. And I don't do well with disrespect, especially when I've given you my life.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go home. I had 30 days left on my contract. I said, you know what? I'm going to separate. And people were like, why wouldn't you stay? You won, this and that. I'm like, it's not about winning.
Yeah.
Well, it is about winning. I'll retract that. It is about winning. It's just not about winning the case. It was about winning for me and my life.
Yeah.
So for me to win in life moving forward, I had to leave because I wasn't going to stay somewhere where I'm being tolerated and not celebrated, and you're trying to treat me like I'm not the person I once was because you made decisions that weren't validated and verified. And the Navy was going to take like 18 months to give me a response to the appeal I sent up to the Washington Navy Yard. And I said, I'm not going to do this for 18 months and not be who I'm supposed to be, right? Or treated differently because people would have different ideas, or that connotation would come with you. Regardless of the fact that I won the case, there's still going to be, we call it the scuttlebutt in the Navy. And when you get to where I got, which was a chief petty officer, that's a certain community. And when you're in that community, people will run their own narratives. Unless you fill it, of course, which is another reason I started writing, right? Yeah, but I couldn't see myself staying. It would be like staying in a toxic relationship, you know? And I was going through a divorce. I said, you know what? I'm going to start my life fresh.
Yeah.
I don't have a partner who's telling me what I can and can't do. If I want any shot at having a real relationship with my children, I need to get out of the military because I'm never going to have a chance to like have full custody or have daily interaction if I'm still serving. So all of those things compiled at once, and I said, I'm going to go home. But the tipping point actually was I was on my last underway, and I decided to read 2 books, Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. And reading that book, I realized that my entire Navy career had been a sale. I had to sell myself to the recruiter. I had to make it through the getting in process. I had to sell myself to the guys running the boot camp. You know, like when you get to your command and you get a job and you start working, you get evaluations, right? To battle to make rank. What is that? You're selling yourself. Like, come on, and it clicked when I read Grant's book. I said, everything's a sale. This is crazy. Yeah. So I possess this skill that I can do anything I want, anywhere I want, because I've mastered that. And I didn't realize that till I read that book.
That's good.
And then I read, you know who Dean Graziosi is?
Oh, of course.
I read Millionaire Success Habits.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got a project, not a project, but like a task in there. It's the 7 Levels Why, where he makes you go deep on your own. And I did that exercise, and I realized I don't want to do anything where my fate and my destiny is in anybody else's hands. And then I derive an annual conference called Determine Your Destiny from this book, and the tagline is Your Fate, Your Responsibility. Imagine that 7-8 years later or whatever. So, but that was the transition out of the military. I had already been doing it for 10 years as a salesperson, right? But you got to remember, I was a chief petty officer in the Navy. I ran divisions, departments, hundreds of people. Always took the hard job. Always did it as well as I could. Always, you know, because I also joined the Navy. I didn't go to school. You can be rated or undesignated. And when you're rated, they send you to a trade school before you go to the fleet. I did not have a trade school before the fleet. So I also had to self-teach my entire job. And my ability to lead people wasn't allowed to shine until kind of like you make like E5, sometimes in an E4 role. But once I hit E5, I was able to really prosper, you know, because I didn't have to be so tech savvy or be an aviation electronics technician. I could be the chief or the first class or who just leading people to the mission accomplishment. That was always my specialty, not fixing a circuit card or whatever. So that was, I transitioned all of my skills as everything that I had acquired in the Navy and took it to business. Standard operating procedures, acronyms, timeliness, schedule, time management, how you communicate with employees, how you communicate with staff. But the difference was I had to go from militant to civilian. You know, in the Navy, if I point and say go, done. If not, write you up. Independent contractors may or may not come to work tomorrow. So if you want 100 killers, you need 300 people, right? But then I found kind of my other lane was packaging and marketing. And I didn't really know that. But when I decided to leave the Navy and go full time, I already had a decade kind of foundation.
Yeah.
I had no intentions of opening a firm. My boy Eric just harassed me for a year because I got out. We started a team together. We did 30 million first 8 months. We were like, okay, I think we got this thing figured out.
Got something going.
Next year rolls around. We go to a conference. We get to meet Ryan Serhant, have lunch with him. And at that conference, we decide, you know what? Maybe we can open a brokerage, because he was right at the beginning of where he was going to open Serhant brand.
Yeah.
And I was like, and super humble and down to earth, by the way. People might not imagine, but it was a very good experience. And that kind of prompted us to say, you know what? F it. We can do it.
That's right.
And we went back. We went to our broker at the time. Neither one of us were brokers, but also people are misguided and uneducated. You can own a brokerage and not be a broker, at least in our state.
Yeah.
You just have to have a broker who's the director of the corporation, right? Nobody around us knew that. So we go back, we say we're going to open a firm. People are like, you can't open firms. You're not a broker. How are you going to do that? Yeah. We do it. The name of it's Iron Valley Real Estate. It's based out of Pennsylvania. We're in Virginia Beach. So people are like, that's never going to work here. Well, everybody was wrong. It worked incredibly.
Yeah.
And we kicked ass and took names and still do every day right now. I built that firm to $1 billion in annual sales in less than 5 years.
That's awesome, bro.
We went from, Eric and I started our team with 3 people. When we had 14 people, we then opened the firm. Right now, those companies sit at like 460 agents, and they're on pace to do $1.4 billion this year.
Incredible. In a market that people would say, not possible, not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Warren Buffett, Berkshire's really the only competitor truly with what we've built in such a short time. And I have to credit that to a lot of people that I'm surrounded by. You know, am I a good leader? Sure, that's what they say. But I also have people around me that poured back into me and were willing to show up to work every day and saw the vision and executed. And recently I've decided that I'm going to speak, coach, and write full time. So I relinquished my leadership responsibilities and ownership responsibilities in the firms, and it was, you know, spread amongst my partners and other owners. But I'm still there. I'm running my own personal sales team. I'm still there for guidance and consulting. But I didn't want to be the guy that was like traveling the country and going to events, and like they're there running that thing every day, man. You know, like it takes a lot of work to lead 400, 500 people, 6, 7 locations, 8 locations, whatever you got going next, right? And as I began to get picked up for things like a TED Talk or asked to come keynote something in Missouri, or as I started working with people like Ben Newman and Burt and Renee, and I just looking at the trajectory of what I've got going on, just felt it might be a disservice if I'm just sitting in this seat when other people are really truly carrying on the legacy, right? And you know, I actually have a 4th book called 0 to $1 billion, where I write about how we built and scaled this company to $1 billion in annual sales. And I realized something. What we did there also worked in my speaking, coaching, and writing business as I stood up. It also worked in our title company as we stood it up. It also works in our insurance brokerage, our PNC brokerage that we have as we stood it up. And it's just basic stuff that people, I mean, it's the easiest things. Show up, be on time, like seek knowledge, find a mentor, find somebody already doing it. Don't rewrite the playbook, right? Like all these things. But there is one thing that nobody can recreate. That's people. So it took a lot, hundreds of people, right, in several locations to realize not everybody is going to fit. Not everybody's supposed to.
That's right.
And that's okay. If they don't fit your mission, your vision, and your core values, don't work with them. It's not going to go well. You know, you learn these things. In the beginning, we were obviously just kind of about signing bodies. Like, dude, we signed a lease. We got to get this thing going. And you find out that's also a horrible plan, right? But what I learned building the businesses is it was very similar to being in the Navy, man. I just couldn't be as stern or as what a civilian would consider disrespectful. We just consider direct, right? So you can't give people direct orders when you're talking about real estate, you know? So the delivery had to change. And that's what took me down the self-development path even further, because you obviously heard who I'm talking about. Les Brown, Jim Rohn, E.T. We talk about the greatest Ed. You'll be talking about the greatest speakers of all time. These are people that I listen to like you listen to music. Like, people don't understand. I'm in my house, Jim, ET, like, I will just run keynotes in the background. I write keynotes regularly. I write keynotes from each of my books, right? Like, it's something that I do. I love it. And that's another reason I decided to transition from the company ownership is like, I love what we've built, but I don't necessarily love chasing around 460 people anymore. You know, I know I'm only 38, but I've been leading people for 20 years, right? And the thing is, we built such a strong leadership bench that, and I told them when I made the decision, like, guys, you don't need me. You don't. I know you think you do. I'm not saying that I don't like feeling like you need me, but the reality is you're doing this every day, and you're all highly qualified, and it's going to hold all of us back. If we're always dependent on me, you guys aren't going to be able to do this, guys and gals. And if I'm always here blocking you, I'm also not going here where I could go, right? So, scaled the businesses, and I've exited the ownership of the firms, but I still am at the firm, running my team, training, leading. I still am on their schedule to give a training quarterly, you know. I'll be at all the events, but I'm also in other businesses that we attach to that brokerage, right? So as we began to build the brokerage, we had some pretty intelligent people involved, and we decided to open our own title company, not a JV, not like, no, it's ours, right? And then we decided, well, we can probably get a property casualty insurance as well, right? So that we didn't do on our own. We did JV that, but both of those have grown alongside this firm, right? And they've given several people passive income and opportunity in their life. And I just felt that now what we've built, keep in mind, this is from 2020 to now.
Which blows my mind,
I opened the company February 2020. COVID hit March 2020, right? We never closed. We did a grand opening anyways, just because I'm tenacious, bro. Like, I'm fearless. Like, I'm not, like, I just left a 14-year career. I'm not closing. It's just, it's not happening.
Just going forward.
And last time I checked, this is America, and you can't tell me not to come to work. And I protected that right. So come and get me if you want to. It's kind of how I felt. Like, no, I've given this country half my life. I will run my business, and you cannot stop me. It's called free trade and commerce, man. Like, read the Constitution. I don't even understand the arguments that people have on the internet. I am going to work. I have the right to earn an income, and you will not stop me. Good luck. Like, it's crazy that narrative ran our country for so long.
Unbelievable.
But one choice, to stay open, to stay at work, to grind it out, was the smartest thing we ever did, man. That summer, they shut us down for a second, but then we got deemed essential personnel, thankfully, and we turned around, did our grand opening, and then we turned around and opened the title company, and then it just kind of went from there, man.
I've been watching it.
But it was always rooted in personal performance as well. Like, the reason we did so well is because we were killing it personally, leading by example, doing it every day, teaching people how to get the deals done, no matter the climate, right? I mean, we were at one point out here with masks on, with spray, with, like, you know, just wild. But we were just determined to not, like, we can't fail, man. And me and my boy Eric both left the Navy after 14 years, and both had families to provide for. We weren't playing around. Like, at all. Like, you're getting to work at 9, you're 4 to 5 hours behind me. Like, and oh, by the way, the people we're servicing, because we're in the most highly densely populated veteran area on the planet, they are like me. Which means when I'm talking to a client at 6 a.m., it's normal. You don't understand that. I'm cool with it, because I never stopped doing the things that made me successful. I still get up early. I know they're up early. I know their whole routine. I know when they got to get out the door. I know how long it takes to get to base. I know how long it's going to take them to get on the ship. I know how long, like, I've lived your life, which is also an extreme advantage in sales.
Huge.
The moment that I can connect with you, that I've done something that you've done, very, very simple. But I'm also most qualified to help you.
That's right.
Because I've lived on that ship, and I've been on that deployment, and I've had a spouse abroad, and I've had children while I wasn't home, and I've done all the things that you think are tough. There's an answer. Same thing as writing these books, right? I mean, there's answers.
That's right.
So, but that's it, man. That's all the Navy just became, I tell everybody this, any branch of the government or the military, it's a Fortune 500 company. That's all it is. If you were to take their structure and their standard operating procedures and how they do business and how they conduct themselves with a mission and vision and core values and a code of ethics and ethos, any of this ringing a bell?
Yeah.
Think about the most famous stuff in our realm of speaking and writing that made it. Think about
all of it.
Programs, standard. Ben Newman, standards over feelings.
Yeah.
Ed, power of one more.
Yeah.
Right? Like these are things that if you served in any branch of the military at any command, every single one of them has a mission and vision statement,
That's right.
core values, right? So it's the prototype. It's the architect to run a successful institution.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it longer than anyone in America. That was my
learn.
epiphany. That's the truth, was like, hey, I can take all of this stuff and apply it over here. And it works. Couple of tweaks.
Yeah.
That's it. You got to learn how to hire and fire, of course, but like the structure, the discipline, the ability to just show up consistently, that's when you're going to win.
That's right.
We all lose. We all go through the storm. It's going to suck for everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot. But what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. You know, I mean, my wife and I, dude, I just helped her buy her partner out of her restaurant. And people don't know, but we were doing that for 2.5, 3 years.
Wow.
It's not easy to like get people out of companies and move partners around. But once you've done it a few times,
Yeah.
you know, like
know how
it's
to do it.
again. So as I said earlier, I think it just comes down to that the amount of experience in the years, not the number of years. Because
That's a good one.
We can both have a day, but was it a day? Like, was it a full day? Like, what did you do today? You know, I came here to see you today and I didn't really know what to expect. We've just been watching each other on the internet for a while, have some mutual connections. And I walk into where Rory's doing this event that I'm talking about I might come to. And and you just had Trent Shelton on your show and Rory, and you got all these guests coming. I said, man, how do I even get here? and the answer is just showing up. Just being consistent, being who you are, being yourself, you know. You reach out on social, I reply. Don't be a pompous a-hole, you know? Like,
That's right.
what's up, man? How are you? You know, like I see you know Burt, I see you know Renee, must be good people, you know?
Yeah.
That's that there too, man. Probably the biggest gift, the ability to go find a mentor and actually listen and actually do it and seek it and know, like, you have something I need.
Yeah.
It's not just something I want. I need it. Because if I didn't need it, I'd have it already. That's right. Like so I came to you to help me. And I just have kind of been doing that since a very young age because I had to.
That's the pattern.
Yeah.
It is, you know, we name the show Competitive Edge. I always look at that through line, and that really has become your competitive edge. It's taking the things that most people have been like, woe is me, this didn't work, that's there. And you're like, no, this is what I learned here. This is what I learned here. And then how do you put it together?
Yep.
I think a lot of people just miss that puzzle. Once you kind of unlock it, it's magic. I say it's like you start to see the world differently.
For sure.
And you've said that a few times today, and I hope people caught that as how you view the world, how you see opportunities that most people go,
Absolutely.
I don't know how I'm going to figure that out. Well, you get somebody to help you, and you go show up and you go figure it out.
That's
Like,
it.
that's how they figured it out. The person that's
That's
ahead
it.
of you. That's how I
Absolutely.
love it. Well, tell me what you're doing next, because I know you got a big event coming up. The book's in process. They're going to be together.
Yep.
And I can't wait for this because, you know, I got invited, so I'm coming.
Yeah,
It's gonna
you
be
got to
awesome.
come, man.
Yeah.
Well, especially now that you have me as a guest, I'll have to comp you VIP.
We're coming. Hey,
that sound?
we're coming.
All right?
Sounds good.
So, well, what's happening next is through working with Burt, he teaches you a strategy of, well, many strategies of how to get on stage, right? Like how to get booked, kind of. Yeah. And I'm a builder of things. I, you know, all these companies, people, building myself up over the years. And I said, man, how can I get on more stages, or is that even what I want? Because I don't necessarily want to travel and talk to groups every day. And no, I want it, whatever I do, I want it to be valuable. I want it to be meaningful, but I also don't want it to be something that drains me, right? So I said, well, Burt has this concept called create the stage. And I said, I run these companies. We have all these people. We have all these vendors and preferred partners already. I'm like, I could just run a conference. If I create the stage, one, I get the headline and keynote, number one.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of, I won't say that's what you're after, but if you're out here trying to get on stages, is that not what you're after?
Yeah.
Well, I got news for you folks. If you just create the stage, you are the show.
There you go.
And I learned that from Burt.
Yeah.
Is it expensive? Sure can be. Does it always pay off? Monetarily, not always. In relationships and opportunities, absolutely. But you also learn things. I'm going into my 3rd annual year, right? First year, didn't realize the power I had of my relationships to go procure as many vendors, as many sponsors to lighten the load on my pocket, per se. You know, I also wasn't really aware that you could earn income utilizing the stage. You could earn income utilizing screens. You can earn income utilizing guerrilla marketing throughout the city. Like, there's so many ways to earn income doing an event, to pay for the event, not to profit and make millions of dollars. I'm not going to lie to y'all. That's not really how it works. If you're going to an event, they would be likely to break even. You are there to get value and cultivate relationships and carry business further. Like, the value expands after the event.
That's right.
The extension of life of the event, right? Yeah. But I just said, the concept I came up with is what made me feel like I knew it would be a good thing, like it would hit. So I told you earlier that I believe that we determine our own destiny. I do. Be faithful. Yes, sure. Love it. I don't care what your religion is. Everybody has the power to practice what they want. But what I can tell you is it doesn't matter how faithful you are if there's no work accompanying that faith, right? So a lot of people are on wishes and hopes and dreams. Work has to go with that, you know?
Good verse that goes with that. Faith without works.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Absolutely. I have a good friend, Jesse Wood. He actually runs one of the top teams at World Financial Group under Ed.
Yeah.
And I can't even take credit. I heard him say that at last year's Determine Your Destiny, because I gave him a speaking spot because he recently published a book. And he's just a great guy. But I heard that. I said, man, that's so good. So good, because it's so true. You know, I'm not telling you not to have hope. I'm not telling you to not be motivated or excited or invigorated, but I'm telling you that it has to come with discipline and commitment and consistency through the storm, through every storm, because there's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah.
And what do you really consider a storm, you know? And how can you handle it?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it comes down to, right? Yeah. So,
well, I'm excited for the event. We'll link it in there because we want to help people get some tickets if they want to come.
So it's Determine Your Destiny. The slogan for the event is your fate, your responsibility. I believe everybody has a purpose in life. I believe everybody can lead a successful, passionate, fulfilling life within that purpose, so long as they do the work required to get there, right? So for me, it's just that I have been through and seen so much that I know that your circumstances aren't the reason.
Yeah.
Your choices are the reason. And we determine our own destiny, and your fate is your responsibility. So I did the first event, and it just went really well. Burt keynoted the first event. It was very well received. I did it in a warehouse gym. It just ended up going really well. So I was like, well, we'll run it back. And then we did it this past year. I brought Rene Rodriguez in to keynote. He obviously crushed it. So, and then I did a Burt Whiskey and Wisdom style on the tail end of that. And then, of course, I was the host and kind of speaking in between. And it went very well again. And then my friend Tim and I reached out to E.T., Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher, who I somehow did a live webinar to launch my first book with him. Awesome. And here we are 2 years later. We're in agreement for him to come keynote the conference March 5th to the 7th in Norfolk, Virginia, downtown Waterside District. So Dr. Eric Thomas is going to be the keynote. I'll be unveiling a keynote for my next book. The keynote's titled Tested in Trauma, Forged in Execution. Ooh. And it's going to be derived from my 5th book titled Tenacity, Life's Winning Philosophy.
Love it.
And I'll be doing that book with Rory and his team at Mission Driven Press. I've recently signed that contract as well. So, again, just remaining a student of the game. I know he's the best in the game right now. And I'm willing to listen and execute. So, we're going to see how this goes. But I said that to say I'm releasing that book at the conference. And if you don't know, Rory also did E.T.'s book, so there's a little bit of intentional congruence there. And for me, it's just cool that Burt's coming back for the 3rd time, and I'll be able to share the stage with 2 men I greatly respect that are at the top of their game. And I get to do it where I live with my family and my friends and my business partners and my clients and people that I served in the military with. So that's the event. And people might ask, well, what am I going to get there? Like, I get that we determine our destiny and it's my fate, my responsibility, but how? Well, step 1 is getting in the room. Step 1 is getting in the room. If you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire or an author or a coach or a speaker, you want to write a book, you want to do any of these things, you want to run a successful business, you want to be a better leader, you want to lead yourself better.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you get in a room where people are doing that?
That's right.
And we have proof of concept, man. I got people that have been to this conference. I have a good friend that met my personal trainer who spoke at my first Determine Your Destiny. His name's Travis Wallace. He's a prior MBA performance coach. And then he started coaching with Burt. He wrote a book. Now he runs his own coaching company. And he launched his book and spoke from stage at my first Determine Your Destiny. Right now, he's got people in my city with success stories, 40, 50, 60 pounds loss, 15, 20% body fat transformations. That's just one example of one guy from one talk from one of the events, right? And it keeps happening. I mean, I have connections now with people that run Grunt Style Foundation, VFWs, all these opportunities that come about, they come from these events. I mean, I wouldn't even be doing events or writing books if I didn't go to events and meet these people and learn how to do them, right? So what we do is, I obviously am going to teach you my keynote. While it will be a story, it will also give you tools to be more tenacious, to live your life tenaciously, to remain within tenacity. Like to me, it's the number one characteristic trait of all elite performers, personally, professionally, doesn't matter the situation. Mm-hmm. Can you sustain superior resilience? Can you do that? Because that's what the winners do.
That's right.
MJ's dad got murdered. He went and got 3 more chips.
Yeah.
People don't even talk about that. Michael Jordan's father was murdered.
Yeah.
Why'd he leave? Why is he playing baseball? Are you people kidding me? His father is dead, and he promised his dad he would play. That's why he left.
Yeah.
And people don't even talk about that. So it's just like, how can you make it through the storm? Mm-hmm. And he chose to go back to what he promised his father to make it through that storm. Yeah. I think that's one of the greatest stories kind of never really highlighted or told, but it's that. When you come to determine your destiny, you're going to meet people just like you who are doing things you want to do, who are going to give you a roadmap. Coach is speaking on his flywheel of momentum. He's going to teach you how to stay in that momentum. And I'm going to tack on, do it tenaciously, and I'm going to give you my blueprint and the steps to do that. And I got some other stuff from other books, but really it's just a celebration of a 3rd annual conference, being able to share the stage with some people that I looked up to for a long time. And with any luck, we'll drop a New York Times bestseller. Yeah. I mean, that's the goal.
We're going to help you get there. So we'll promote it out, get the adrenaline and the excitement going early.
Yeah. And we'll also be doing some fundraising, some charity work. So all of my events are coupled with a workout and some fundraising. So because I believe health and wealth are also the keys
all
to
go together.
That's right. Like it's synergy, right? So there'll be a workout, there'll be cocktail parties. There's a plethora of speakers. It's not just myself, Burt, and Dr. Eric Thomas. That's wild to even say. Yeah. But I have another TEDx speaker coming. I have another highly qualified female coach coming to specifically speak on women leadership and family stuff. Just a lot of good topics. A wide variety of speakers to equip you to go accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. Yeah. But you can't just come to a conference and expect for it to work. You have to take notes, you need to be intentional, and then you need to execute after.
Yeah, that's right.
And we even have some things to help people with that as well. So,
love it.
But we'll leave some stuff for the event.
So don't give them all. Don't give them all the goods.
You can't.
Dude, thank you.
Say, taste the ice cream.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you for coming in and sharing. Because I know your story is going to touch people. You gave them already some of the keys, but you got to get the book. They got to start following you. We'll put all that in there and then get ready for the conference. But I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, man. Awesome. Look forward to hosting you in Norfolk and impacting some lives.
Good. So. Thanks for tuning in. This has been another incredible episode, and you guys can see why I love having guests like Mike on, because his story is going to touch some of you. You've heard probably some of your story as he went through his own life, and I want you to think back to the last storm that you went through, and what was the lesson you learned, and have you changed as a result? Because I know this to be true. As you listen to Mike's story and you saw, okay, he made this change, he stacked wins along the way. None of it happened overnight, and you could see the intentionality. So get tenacious, get out there. I know this in sports. In my own journey is the people that were tenacious and took advantage of the opportunities in front of them. They seem to always create wins and enjoy life more. So let that be you. Share this episode with other people. Give us a review if you haven't already. Give us the 5 stars. We want to get this podcast in front of more people because I believe it can change their life. It can change how they think. And it's how we're going to all move forward together. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.